I'm charging $2,500 a month to deliver a 10-page document that takes me exactly 45 minutes to finalize. Most people looking to make money with AI are busy chasing $5 prompts on Fiverr or trying to build the next billion-dollar SaaS in their bedroom with zero coding knowledge. They're failing because they're focused on the tool rather than the problem. The real money in 2025 isn't in content creation or AI art, it's in high-level competitive intelligence. I'm talking about providing mid-sized B2B companies with a war room report that tells them exactly what their competitors are doing before those competitors even know it themselves. This isn't just research, it's strategic leverage, and businesses will pay a premium for it because it saves them from making million-dollar mistakes. The biggest mistake I see right now is the AI research trap. You've seen the videos. Someone tells you to go to Perplexity or ChatGPT, ask it to summarize the latest news in the fintech industry, and then try to sell that as a newsletter. That is a fast track to $0. Executives don't want more information. They are already drowning in information. They want insights. They want to know that their biggest rival just updated their pricing page by 15% overnight, or that they just hired 3 senior engineers from a specific niche, signaling a pivot into a new market. If you just hand them a summary of a blog post, you're a commodity. If you hand them a gap analysis that shows them exactly where their competitor is vulnerable, you're a consultant. There is a massive difference in the paycheck between those two roles. Here is the actual method, step by step with no fluff. You are going to build an AI-powered monitoring engine. You don't need to be a developer to do this, but you do need to stop being lazy with your tool selection. We are using a stack of 3 specific tools: Browse.ai, Clay, and Claude 3.5 Sonnet. Step 1 is the spider phase. You need to monitor the web, not just search it. I use Browse.ai because it allows you to train a robot in about 2 minutes to monitor any specific part of a website. For a client, I'll set up monitors on their top 5 competitors' pricing pages, their careers page, and their press or news section. The moment a competitor changes a single word on their pricing table or posts a new job opening for a head of expansion in Germany, my system gets a notification. This is raw data. Most people stop here and fail. Step 2 is the enrichment phase. This is where Clay comes in. Clay is essentially a spreadsheet on steroids that connects to over 50 different data providers. I take those raw notifications, say a new job posting, and I run them through Clay. I tell Clay to find the LinkedIn profile of the person who previously held that role, find the company's current headcount in that specific department, and pull the last 3 quarters of their revenue growth if it's public or estimated. Now, instead of just saying Company X is hiring, I can say Company X is hiring for a role they haven't filled in 2 years, following a 20% dip in their European market share. See the difference? That's the so what factor. Step 3 is the brain phase. This is where everyone messes up by using the wrong AI. For deep strategic analysis, GPT-4o is too chatty and prone to making things sound like a marketing brochure. I use Claude 3.5 Sonnet. I feed Clay the enriched data from Clay and I give it a very specific persona. I tell it, you are a chief strategy officer with 20 years of experience in the SaaS sector. Analyze this data for competitive threats and opportunities. I give it a specific framework to follow, like a SWOT analysis or a blue ocean strategy template. I ask it to find the hidden narrative. If a competitor is hiring heavily in customer success, but their pricing hasn't changed, Claude might identify that they are struggling with high churn and are desperate to keep the customers they have. That is an insight my client can use to aggressively target those unhappy customers with a switch and save campaign. The final step is the value phase. I don't send a raw text file. I use a clean, professional template in Canva or Google Docs that looks like it came from McKinsey. It's categorized into market signals, competitor moves, and recommended actions. The recommended action section is the only part I actually spend my human brain power on. I spend 15 minutes reviewing Claude's logic, fact-checking the most critical data points, and adding a personal note. That's the 45 minutes of work. The rest is automated. I started this with one client in the logistics space. They were losing bids to a smaller, more agile competitor and couldn't figure out why. My AI engine flagged that the competitor had quietly integrated a specific type of carbon tracking API into their checkout process, something they weren't even advertising yet. My client was able to fast-track their own integration and win back a $3 million contract. They didn't care that I used AI to find the info. They cared that I found it before it was common knowledge. That single win solidified my $2,500 monthly retainer for the next 2 years. If you want to start this today, do not build a website. Do not spend 3 weeks picking a logo. Go to LinkedIn and find 10 companies in a specific niche, let's say medtech or manufacturing automation, that have between 50 and 500 employees. These companies are big enough to have money, but small enough that they don't have a dedicated competitive intelligence department. Look at their competitors. Use a tool like Perplexity to find one interesting move a competitor has made recently. Maybe they launched a new feature or entered a new city. Then reach out to the CEO or the VP of sales of your target company. Don't say, I have an AI agency. They don't care. Say, I noticed your main competitor just shifted their hiring focus toward your primary territory. I've put together a brief analysis of what this means for your Q4 sales targets. Can I send it over? When they say yes, and they will because you're talking about their money, send them a mini version of the report I just described. The beauty of this model is the sticky factor.
Once a CEO starts receiving a bi-weekly report that tells them exactly what the competition is doing, they become addicted to it. It's like having a cheat code for their business. They will never cancel that subscription because the cost of being in the dark is far higher than $2,500. Most of you watching this will think it sounds like too much work. You'd rather go back to trying to find a secret AI website that pays you to click buttons. Good, stay there. That leaves the real market open for those of us willing to actually solve a business problem. You aren't selling AI. You are selling the reduction of uncertainty. In a world where AI is moving this fast, uncertainty is everywhere. People will pay any price to get rid of it. The math on this is simple. 5 clients at $2,500 a month is $12,500 in recurring revenue. Your software costs, Browse.ai, Clay, and a Pro Claude subscription will run you maybe $300 a month. That is a 97% profit margin. You can manage those 5 clients in less than 5 hours of work per week once the systems are built. This isn't a hustle. This is a high-margin data business. Stop asking AI to write poems and start asking it to find the gaps in a balance sheet or a product roadmap. The tools are already here. The data is sitting right there on the open web, waiting to be scraped and synthesized. The only thing missing is you actually setting up the workflow instead of just talking about it. Go to Browse.ai, set up your first monitor on a random company, and see what happens. The moment you see that first notification hit your inbox telling you a price has changed, you'll realize that information is the most valuable currency on the planet. Go get paid for it. Or don't. I'll just keep taking the retainers. If you actually want to build this, look into the Clay University documentation for their competitor monitoring templates. It's the closest thing to a silver bullet you're going to find. Now go do the work.